from the Houston area. You're listening to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. We've come home from the break, so we're both in our respective cities, both Houston. So glad to have you with us. You're listening to the Fifth Quarter Podcast, a college sports bonanza. I am George Koff again, and alongside me I have my good friend Desmond McLaughlin. Desmond, I would say good morning, but it's closer to good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, George. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's, Christmas season, done with finals. We can all relax and just, take a breather. But I think, we did have we're coming back from a 2-week hiatus that we left off of. But I think it's good that we're back. We're going to break down the college football playoff. We're going to break down the rest of the what happened last week, the Army-Navy game, look at some college basketball, take a look at our coaching statuses. And then, of course, because it happens, we're on the eve of bowl season. The bowl season starts tomorrow. We'll look at all the bowl games, and we'll have a special guest join us for those. So, Desmond, you ready to get into this?
I'm ready, man.
Let's just do it then. I think that's the best way to start off with it. So, for those of you that were unaware, unless you were under a rock, we had the college football playoff selection show about 2 weeks ago, in which they picked their top 4 seeds and the 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And not surprisingly, Oklahoma sneaked in as the Big 12 one-loss champ. But Georgia did sneak in at number 5. They were the first one that left out, and then Ohio State at number 6, even though Ohio State was a one-loss Big 10 champion. So you have Bama OU in the Orange Bowl in Miami, and Clemson Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, in Jerry's World. Desmond, what's your reaction? Did you think? Obviously, you were a kind of a Oklahoma homer here towards the end of the season. What did you think when you were watching the selection show? Were you definitely surprised? Were you a bit confused about Oklahoma being, put in?
No, George. I was not confused. I told you, like one of the weeks. I don't remember how many weeks ago, but the last time we met, I told you that if Georgia lost this game, then Oklahoma would be in the college football playoffs. That's what happened. By the way, great game between Georgia and Alabama.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Jalen Hurts coming back, yep. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by Georgia being ranked above Ohio State. I mean, I'm a little surprised due to the record, but Georgia's obviously a better team. If they would have been number 4 and Oklahoma would have been number 5, it wouldn't have been bad. I would have understood. But I definitely felt like Oklahoma was going to be in the top 4, which I said week 1 of our podcast.
Yeah. So and also you said that Kyler Murray was going to win the Heisman.
He was going to win the Heisman. Yes, sir. He's a bad man.
Well, you know what? I want to take a minute just before we get to the New Year's 6 here from the rankings. I want to take a moment just to recognize the fact that all 3 of those men for the Heisman ceremony, Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State, Tua from Bama, and Kyler Murray from Oklahoma.
And we can't leave out Will Grier too. I mean,
Will Grier, and then also I forgot who came in 4th. If you look at the voting, I think it was Minshew from Washington State. Realistically, all 5 of those men could have any year would have won the Heisman. I mean, Tua would have won the Heisman last year, or what I'm saying is they could have won it by themselves any other year, but put them all together. I mean, that's just hard to decide a winner, and just. Obviously, I think Kyler was more deserving of it. I think he had. You could make a case that Bama's going to be that Tua was because he's just so dominant. But if you look at who was more valuable or who was more important stress to their team, if Alabama loses that game to Georgia, then yes, I actually would have probably given it to Tua. I would have voted for Tua because then you would have said, well, Tua is gone, and so he was more valuable to his team because Jalen didn't come in and get the win. You know what I mean? Whereas with Kyler Murray, he practically ran that offense, and he was the reason why Oklahoma was scoring in the 40s and the 50s, and why they almost came back on Texas the first time, or why they beat West Virginia. Or, they just whooped up on TCU and Iowa State and all these teams that turned out to be pretty good. So that's just I'm agree with you. I didn't really think that Kyler Murray was going to have a chance until the SEC championship game when we saw Tua go down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it will be a good, interesting to see the Heisman Trophy winner against the Heisman Trophy could have been winner.
Yes.
In the semifinal with Tua and Kyler taking on each other. But honestly, is it going to be about the quarterback play, or is it going to be about whether or not Bama can just stop Oklahoma twice? Because this Oklahoma defense, I could probably score a touchdown on this Oklahoma defense. That's how bad the defense is. I mean, how many points have they allowed this season? Like
a lot.
Like
I mean,
30 points per game or something like that.
Big 12 football we're talking about here,
It's
George.
just bad. And as much as I hate this, I don't want to see it. We'll get a Bama Clemson part 5, 6, however you want to call it. It's going to be the next game in the Dabo Sweeney Nick Saban rivalry. That's going to be what we see in the national championship game. I don't think maybe Notre Dame pulls off an upset.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I don't know. I think because they're playing in a truly neutral site, there is no way, like Clemson, Notre Dame, the distance between them to Dallas is not even, it's not close. It's not like Oklahoma being close to Dallas. So it makes it truly neutral. And with Bama, Oklahoma, you have more Alabama fans closer to the Orange Bowl. So it's going to be somewhat pro-Bama. So it'll be interesting to see what that Clemson, Notre Dame, what happens there. Let's get ahead into the New Year's Six. I think there's really only one decent matchup, Texas, Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Those are two, they both lost their conference championships, so they're wanting some momentum. I just don't know how much momentum Georgia's going to be playing with. How much determination do they want? What's the determination that they want to win? And is it more than Texas wanting to win? Because if Georgia just goes out there and just, whatever, we lost the SEC championship, so we're just not really playing for much, then Texas is going to whoop up on them. But if they both are truly determined and truly want to win, we can get a really good matchup. What's your take on that?
Well, as you said, they're both coming off losses, and but as I said, Georgia gave Alabama a run for their money. They had the lead.
That's a good point.
I think that if you can get Alabama scared, which I'm pretty sure they were scared, they shut down Tua until he got on a hot streak because it went down, but they had shut him down. And I think if you can do that against the best team in college football, then you definitely can beat a team like Texas. Not saying Texas isn't good, but they're definitely not Alabama good.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. We'll leave it at that. I think it'll be a good matchup. I'm glad it's a good bowl, like a Sugar Bowl, or not just some of these, whatever .com bowl. It's a good Sugar Bowl in the Superdome.
Right.
I mean, I really don't. The only other thing I want to say about the New Year's Six is we could have had an in-state showdown. Ohio State Washington is just going to be a one-sided game by Ohio State. Washington is coming from a weak Pac-12. I'm just. You know me. I've never been up on the Pac-12. Maybe with Washington State, but even then, it was rare. And then you're saying UCF and LSU. I wish that was at the Peach Bowl. It's not fair for those Southern teams to have to go and travel halfway across the country to Arizona to play a stupid a stupid big bowl game. Put them in the Peach Bowl. I don't care if you say that UCF played in the Peach Bowl last year. Just put them in the Peach Bowl, make it more exciting, and put the other game, Florida, Michigan, in the Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. But no more ranting. Let's go on to Army Navy. That was a great game. I don't know if you watched part of that. It was during finals, but still, Army beat Navy third year in a row. And the Black Knights Army is at 10 wins. Desmond, can you believe that? They're at 10 wins. Second time in 3 years that they're at 10 wins, which is pretty. I mean, for Army. I mean, hold up a minute. They play a better schedule. We're putting them in the playoff conversation, no?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, their schedule is, it's decent.
Yeah.
But if you get a better schedule, and they're sitting at 9-3 or 10-2 again, there's no reason for the playoff committee to say, hey, let's throw them in the bunch, rank them higher than UCF. You know me, UCF. I don't like UCF. Sorry, UCF fans. I mean, I don't see why they should be ranked higher than any of these other teams. But Desmond, let's turn it over to you. You've been watching the college basketball scene pretty lately. I mean, we've kind of transitioned, besides the bowl games, we've almost transitioned into college basketball. So what's going on? I know Houston is undefeated still, and
Yes,
to me,
they
they
are.
have the best resume, in my
Congratulations
opinion.
to them, by the way.
Yeah, and I know Texas Tech is undefeated, right? Aren't they undefeated?
Yes, they are.
They are, yeah, I know. And then Kansas though is still one of the better teams, and of course you have to look at Zion Williamson and Duke because they're going to be pretty good this year. Don't forget about Gonzaga; that's a good team. But anything you want to go with? I'll let you take this part because you're a basketball fan,
Right.
and unfortunately I'm not that big of one. But
Well, George, I'm gonna ride the train here, George. I'm gonna go with everybody else. Duke just looks strong this year, George.
do you
I
think they can
mean,
win the whole thing?
you see, I feel like teams that are really like destined to win end up losing. You saw that back in the what year was it? Oh, man, I forget what year it was, but back when Kentucky had the Harrison twins.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about that
yeah.
season where they're undefeated. You know, everyone was like,
And then
they end up losing to Wisconsin. You know, I
yeah,
feel like
in the Final Four, right? Didn't they lose
yeah,
in the
yeah,
Final Four?
the Final
Yeah.
Four. I feel like teams that just like very young, who Duke is very young, mostly composed by freshmen, who just have a lot of expectation on them. When it gets tough, I feel like they always fall down, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, Duke does have the benefit of having Coach K, who has been in this game for a long time. You know, he's seen many Hall of Famers come through him, many great NBA players. But they're definitely one of those stronger teams right now, and I'm going to ride that. I definitely think that they'll go really far. Another team I want to talk about was my Texas Tech Raiders. I said undefeated, ranked number 11. By the way, at the beginning of the season, we were unranked, which I'm unsure why, because they made it to Sweet 16.
Yeah, didn't y'all what lost to Villanova, right?
Yeah.
In the Elite Eight.
I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. I mean,
No,
we did a good season.
What? How are you not? Again,
I don't know.
Desiree,
Man.
what did we say about the preseason top
I did.
25?
Don't even pay attention to them.
Exactly. So it's only important when you get towards the middle of the season. And don't worry, I feel your pain about not getting looked at, but I can't say anything good about A&M. Good. Ay. Can I just? I'm going to take a moment here and say to all you Boston College fans that are listening, can you really not, find a way to get to College Station? Or are you really that like a bunch of bums? Because I don't know if you heard about that, Desmond. The game got canceled between Boston College and A&M because Boston College couldn't find a way to get to College Station and flying into any other airport. They could they said they couldn't find a College Station, and so A&M's like, "We'll find a Austin or Houston. We'll come and get a bus to bring you to College Station." And they're like, "No, we can't do that." I'm like, "What?" So, I mean, it's just a little frustrating when you want to go and enjoy a game, and instead the game gets canceled because nobody can get their stuff together. So, either way, we've said we're going to pick a small school this year. So for college basketball, Desmond, I'll let you go first, and I'll take mine. Who you got?
Well, before this podcast, you make fun of me because I said this, but I'm going with Mr. Splash Brother himself, Steph Curry's alma mater, Davidson. They're 8-1 right now, first in Atlantic. They have Kelly Grady, who was the Atlantic 10 Rookie of the Year last year.
Okay.
And I always see their name in the NCAA tournament. I consistently see them. They might not go far, but I consistently see their name, and I just have a good gut feeling,
Okay. I'm like you. I think you kind of have to go find a school that's probably not going to make it far in the tournament, but they'll still make it to the tournament.
Yeah.
I've got Furman, the Tigers, the Furman Tigers. They're a small school, pretty small school actually. They're ranked in the top 25, by the way. They're 23rd in the top 25. They've beaten Villanova and Loyola Chicago, which if y'all really don't know basketball like me, you'll know those are the two of the Final Four teams in college basketball from last year. They are still, I don't know if they're undefeated. Maybe they have one loss.
They're still undefeated.
They're still undefeated. And they're first and they're in the Southern Conference. They just cruising. They just having a good time. They won their first game as ranked as a top 25 team few days ago. So they're just out here playing basketball. What can I say? That's my type of people. It's like the remember the Titans crew. You just got to pick somebody who's the underdog. So don't forget, we'll check in college basketball and start changing once we get into 2019. We'll start changing our podcast to be more college basketball because that will be what's in season. But before we get out of season to college football, let's talk about the coaching carousel. We checked on it last time we came on the air, but we're going to check it again because a lot of stuff has happened. Urban Meyer, the Ohio State head coach, retired. Desmond, what did you take on that?
Well, I mean, I know that he's definitely been in the game for a while. What he had like a 82-9 record for Ohio State.
Something
that was,
crazy.
That was after he'd been coaching for a while. Sad to see him go. He was always one of the best.
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back. Trust me.
You think so?
Oh, he'll be back. This is just a sabbatical. He's gonna take a breather, and then he'll be back. Trust me. I just have a feeling it's gonna be it's gonna be just like Bill Snyder. He retired once. Kansas State fell into a drought again. He came back, and then now he just retired, and he'll be done. He'll be done. But
you seem really confident in that, George.
I trust me. Urban Meyer is gonna come back. Okay. He's old enough to or young enough to where he'll come back like Les Miles or something. He'll go off the face of the planet for 2 years, take a breather, and then come on back. Coach some small team, maybe like Ohio or something small. And even actually he might go back to Ohio State, depending on how Ryan Day does. But we'll see. In other news, Hugh Freeze, the Ole Miss coach, is back. He's coaching Liberty now. So that'll be an interesting.
I did read about that. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting experiment. Texas Tech with their new head coach Matt Wells, which I'd like to mention. Right after I upload the podcast episode 13, Matt Wells got hired. So we could have, if we just waited a little bit, we could have talked about the hire. But I think they're going to need some help next year. They're gonna need some serious coaching help. They have this guy who looks like a shaggy dog, has like a mop on his head. But and speaking of Texas Tech, Cliff Kingsbury, who was fired, is now
rehired.
Now the USC offensive coordinator. Desmond, you heard it here first. USC is gonna win the Pac-12. I don't know if they get.
Wow.
I don't know if they get in the playoff next year. I can tell you they win the Pac-12. All they need is a little bit of offensive help, and boy.
Yes.
This team is going to go. They're at least going to get 9 wins. You have to at least agree with me on that one.
Yes.
They'll get 9 wins. And then we mentioned it last time, but I have to mention it again. Jake Spavital, the West Virginia offensive coordinator, he's going to Texas State, and I just think that was one of the. I think looking back now, that's one of the best hires this year. I mean, Texas State is trying to revamp their program yet again, and who else to go to than a offensive coordinator who had one of the best offenses with Will Grier in the nation? I mean, why not? And there are still 11 coaching jobs open, but it looks like after this early signing day on the December the 19th is when they'll get filled, so nothing really is going to happen between now and the 19th. There's one head coaching job, that's Akron up in Ohio, where LeBron James said he would have gone to play basketball. So, that there's that, and we'll see. Anything you want to add on that, Desmond? I think it's kind of just a waiting period here. Just wait and see what happens.
No, I definitely think it's a waiting period. I just want to say, do we have any status on Art Briles?
Art Briles.
Any news?
I heard that his son Kendall Briles is still in the mix, but I think Art Briles is not going to get a job this year. Maybe next year.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think what we mentioned, I think it was the Texas Tech was really the only likely head coaching job, and once that got filled, it was kind of just like, okay, well, let's just move on then. Let him go stay in Italy, coaching his American football team in Florence. But I think it's what we've all been waiting for here. The bowl season is upon us, so let's break it down. Desmond, we'll just kind of go back and forth here with some questions, and then we'll get into our picks. So, I have a few questions. The first one is the favorable bowl matchup, the game you'll definitely be watching decides the semifinals, the biggest storyline, and the most exciting bowl name. I'll start first. The favorable bowl matchup I really like this Texas Bowl here in NRG in Houston, the Baylor Vanderbilt, the game that we thought that was going to include Texas Tech and A&M, but it didn't, unfortunately. But I think one of these teams, whoever wins, is going to have some like huge momentum going into 2019. I think this is just it's a game between 6-6 teams, Vanderbilt, Baylor. They both had the clinch. They both had the win that last week of the season to get to bowl eligibility. I take Baylor, but watch out because the Commodores could make it interesting. I think it would go back and forth, and we'll get to my scores and our score predictions later. But I think that will be a really good one, just because it's Texas, it's football. What can you not like about Baylor and Vanderbilt? I mean, they're both very evenly matched. What do you have as your favorable matchup?
Well, George, my favorable matchup would have to be the Florida-Michigan game.
Okay, the Peach Bowl.
Yes, Peach Bowl. I just think this will be a close game. It will validate whether or not Florida is as good as they seem this season. Because let me tell you that they came out of nowhere this season.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And
except for that blowout loss to Missouri. I mean, just saying, and that really bad loss to Georgia.
I feel like in the SEC, there's always like that one game that teams lose that they should not have lost.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, A&M, about Auburn.
Exactly. I was referring to that too.
But no, I see your point. But I think you're right. Florida kind of just came out of nowhere. Dan Mullen's gotten this team to 9-3. They're ranked top 10. What's not to say that they're going to beat Michigan and Jim Harbaugh? I mean, I think at least Jim Harbaugh all of a sudden, once he heard the Urban Meyer hiring or retirement, I think he's the only person on that Michigan staff that's jumping up and down because he now knows he has a chance to beat Ohio State next year. I mean, but yeah, I think that Florida Michigan game will be interesting. Anything do you think? Is there a specific matchup, like maybe Shea Patterson against Florida's defense, or something that may be interesting or something to watch for in this game?
No, I'm just really want to watch this game. I know we're not talking about it, but I really can't wait for the Alabama-Oklahoma game. Man, I'm so excited.
I know, Desmond. Okay. I know you want to see OU real badly, but you just gotta wait. Well,
it's not even that. It's just that, like as you said before, it's the matchup between the Heisman winner and the Heisman second runner-up. Both players who can run and pass. Obviously Alabama has a better defense, but I'm interested to see which offense does it a little better.
Yeah. Okay, next one. What's the game you'll definitely be watching besides the semifinals?
I gotta stick with my small school here.
Okay, so game
State.
number 4 of the bowl season happens tomorrow.
Yeah, Arizona State, Fresno State, Las Vegas Bowl, George.
Okay. I'm gonna be watching the Camping World Bowl. That's Syracuse, West Virginia. I don't care if Will Greer is not playing. You know what? I feel like I need to start jumping on the Syracuse bandwagon. I considered going there, and you know what? I thought about it. Not too much, but I think they could get this bowl, win, go and compete in the ACC next year. So you heard it here first. Syracuse might make a run for the ACC championship game. Mark it down for 2019, Desmond. Mark it down. And then a big storyline for me has got to be Oklahoma State's pass defense against Drew Lock, the Missouri quarterback. That game is going to be a high-scoring showdown on New Year's Eve, Liberty Bowl. If Lock plays, it'll be great. We'll get to score predictions for that one in a second, but I just think that's going to be a good one. Desmond, what do you think? What's your biggest storyline?
Well, I said my big storyline, just to brag to you, was Kyler Murray winning the
Desmond, how many times have you said it in the last 30 minutes?
Until you realize, George, I've been saying this all season long. Let me brag. Let me dwindle on the slight, George. Okay, I haven't got all my upset picks right. I have a terrible record. Yes. My small school is okay at best. All right, so this is all I have, George.
Okay, Desmond.
Let me have it.
Okay. And finally, the most exciting bowl game. There's got to be one that has a cool sponsor or something that hits you right in the head. Go, oh my gosh, that's gonna be an interesting bowl name. I've got the Red Box Bowl. That's between Oregon and Michigan State. I hope these people at Red Box are giving them free Red Box. Like you can't not go to a Redbox Bowl game and just come out. I know somebody was saying they were giving Rokus away in that to the players in that game. They always give like a gift bag or something, and supposedly they're giving Rokus, which is pretty cool. But anything you have one. If you don't, that's okay.
Well, I think there's a bowl called the Cure Bowl.
Yes, the AutoNation Cure Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, and they give like toiletries as gifts, man.
They give what?
Toiletries as gifts to play.
Oh gosh.
And I find that pretty funny.
Yeah,
I find that pretty funny.
The AutoNation Cure Bowl, that's between Louisiana Lafayette, ULL,
and like Tulane.
Tulane.
Yeah.
We're not picking that game. We're not picking that one strictly because. So, I'm going to attempt here to add our good friend who is our guest today. He is a good friend of mine. You'll recognize him here if we can get him on the call here. I'll introduce him as we wait. Hunter Prabhu, he joined us a few episodes ago. And Hunter, are you with us?
George, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Glad to.
Oh, there's Desmond too. There we go.
Glad to have
How's
you.
How's it going, man?
Us.
All right.
I see you rocking the Lakers jersey.
Oh, I got to. I gotta rock Lonzo real quick.
Hey, Desmond, can we gloat in his face about last night?
All right. We gotta talk about the Harden SmackDown. Is that what we're talking about?
No,
George, this is all yours, man.
Not just Harden. It's all about Daniel House, the former Texas A&M legend. Okay?
That's true.
Okay.
Daniel's been pretty good.
This boy can dunk on what was it? He dunked on JaVale.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was James. That was James.
That was Harden.
Yeah.
That was Harden.
It doesn't matter. You know what? I'm glad the Rockets are finally getting back on track. But speaking of getting back on track, we got to start picking some of these bowl games. We got a lot to go through. As you guys know, if you're viewers and if you're watchers, listeners of the show, you know that Desmond and I, our upset watches have not been too great. Desmond's 2-11. I'm 4-9. It's just ugly. Desmond, you agree with me? It's ugly that we can't pick upsets.
Let's not talk about it, George.
Yeah, let's just move on. I mean, Desmond got the LSU A&M run right, and he got Texas Tech Oklahoma State, which looking back really wasn't that big of an upset. I got the Kentucky Mississippi State game when Kentucky was still a dark horse. The BYU Washington game, BYU Wisconsin when Wisconsin was still a top 25 team. The Florida LSU game when LSU went in there and lost to Florida in the swamp, and then the South Florida game when Ed Oliver just was a beast. So there is some bragging rights there. Desmond was bragging all over me about Kyler Murray winning the Heisman, but you know what? It's all good. So we'll start. We got 5 of the 38 bowl games that are going to be occurring, minus the national championship game that I've decided to pick, and then we'll pick some of the other bowl games. So we'll start first with the Alamo Bowl, playing in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. That's between Washington State and the Cougars, and Iowa State and the Cyclones. Desmond, we'll start with you. What do you have in that game?
Well, George, I definitely think we've said this many times before. Iowa State's just one of those teams you really can't sleep on.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely think that they've improved throughout the season. And I think they're going to beat Washington State 42-35.
Okay.
Yes, George.
So would that and Desmond, just keep in mind you have to choose one of these bowl games as your upset. So just
okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, and if you want to choose that one, come back to it. You can. Hunter, I know you were 4-3 last time you picked with us. I think that included a UCLA loss to USC.
Yeah.
How
did Desmond get us on that one? That's just amazing.
I mean, but you're at a clean slate. You're 0-0. So
yes,
let's start. So let's start fresh. What do you have? Who do you have in the Alamo Bowl?
I'm going to agree with Desmond on this one. I really like Iowa State on this one. I like their competition that they've played, and you know what? Washington State kind of disappointed me in last time, so that's a little reason why I'm not picking them. Okay. But I think Iowa State's just that really nitty-gritty dark horse team that you got to watch out for, and I think that's why they're going to win. I got them winning 34-31.
So close.
Yes,
So
very.
we all have it close. I have. I'm going to take Washington State. Unfortunately, I think Iowa State is good, but that mustache, Gardner Minshew, the guy that was actually in the running for the Heisman at one point, he's just too good. Mike Leach is a great coach. These guys are gonna be ready to play. I've got Washington State 40-33. So I think high scoring, but I think it'll be at least a touchdown. The next game we have is the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. I have to get that sponsorship in, you know. Because that's the name of the bowl. It's being played at the old Chargers Stadium before they moved to LA, between the Utah Utes and the Northwestern Wildcats. This is a top 25 ranked matchup being played on New Year's Eve. Desmond, let's go with you again. Who do you have in this one?
Well, George, I definitely think this will be a close game. I actually have Utah winning this game 24-17 over Northwestern.
Okay. Any big reason why? Just because?
Just because.
Okay. Hunter, this one's almost in your it's in your state, in just south of LA. What do you have?
It's true. I'm actually going to disagree on this one with Desmond. I'm going to go Northwestern.
Okay.
I think that's another team where you got to keep your eye on. They manhandled Michigan for a good while when they played them, and I would really, keep your eye on Clayton Thorson too. He's a little inconsistent, but he'll have his really good moments, I believe.
Look at the Big Ten championship game.
Exactly.
They were in that game realistically for most of the game until it got halfway through the fourth, when Dwayne Haskins decided it was time to ball out.
Exactly.
So do you have a score prediction there?
I got it 24-20 on this one.
Okay. I'm going with the Northwestern Wildcats, and just because they're ranked 22nd and Utah's ranked 17th, this is my upset. Utah is too banged up. They limped into the end of the season, and they shouldn't have won. They almost won that big Pac-12 championship game, and they really. Neither team in that game, Utah, Washington, should have won. Should have really just been Washington State, let's be honest. But unfortunately, this is probably the only big blowout I have of bowl season. I have Northwestern winning 38-17, so I have it big.
All right.
3 touchdowns. Our third game is this one just has a cool name to it, the Cheez-It Bowl. Who doesn't want to go to that bowl game?
What, did they give out free Cheez-Its or something, George?
I don't know. I hope so. It used to be the Cactus Bowl, but instead it's the Cheez-It Bowl between TCU and Cal, being played in Chase Field, where the Diamondbacks play in Phoenix, Arizona. So let's go to Hunter this time. I'm curious what his take is first. Hunter, what do you have, TCU or Cal?
You know what? I'm having a lot of close games here. I think TCU has had a pretty pretty disappointing season, in my opinion. They haven't had the season they really wanted. I think it's a very evenly matched game. Cal's had some tough opponents in that Pac-12, including Washington State and all them. I think it's going to be a very defensive game, but I think Cal pulls it off 21-17.
Okay. This is, according to ESPN's FPI, this is the closest bowl matchup. I think it's 50.8 to 49.2 or whatever it is, something like that, where it's very, very close. Desmond, what do you have?
Well, George, I'm going to stick with the Big 12 here. It's home. It's close to my heart. I think their offense will just, Big 12 offense. I have them win this game 38-17, TCU.
Okay, so you have the same score I had for Northwestern, but for TCU, so big.
That was just a coincidence, all right?
TCU was really resilient. Coach Patterson got his players ready for that one. For the whole last 3 games of the season, they were able to battle back and get to bowl eligibility. And I just think this game is too good for. It'll be too good for Cal for TCU to not lose. So I've got TCU 37-33. In the fourth game on our 5 for 5, Oklahoma State and Missouri. This is a good old rematch of Big 12 foes in the Liberty Bowl, Memphis, Tennessee on New Year's Eve in the morning. I just think, like I mentioned earlier, I think it'll be. I'm curious to see what Oklahoma State's going to do to stop Drew Lock. But I'm saying I'm going to expect a high scoring showdown. Drew Lock will play, and Missouri holds off Oklahoma State in overtime, 45-44.
Ooh.
Hunter, what do you have?
I think Drew Lock's going to have a pretty decent game. He's been very, very good all season. Oklahoma State also been impressive. They had that win over Texas. But I think they're very inconsistent. They are a 500 team. So I'm going to have Mizzou win it 38-28.
Okay, so that's respectable. Desmond, I'm assuming you're going to take Big 12 on this one?
You already do, George. You already do. But why are you not choosing Oklahoma? Please tell me why you're not choosing Oklahoma State.
Because 2 words. Drew Lock. I'm just saying it like that. Desmond, what's your score prediction?
One word. Offense. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I have Oklahoma State winning this game 42-28, George.
Wow. Okay. Didn't expect that coming from
And when Oklahoma State wins, I will mark this down and I will text you.
Okay. Desmond,
just like I texted you when Kyler Murray won the Heisman.
Okay. Well, Desmond, I'm assuming you're going to take the Big 12 and say that the Big 12 is undefeated in bowl season. Is that what you're saying? You're going to stand up for your fellow
No,
Big 12
actually,
opponent?
because we all know Georgia's going to beat Texas. Come on.
Okay, good. I hope you were going to say that. Speaking of SEC team, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, and yes, they give out PlayStation 4s to all the players.
Cool. I wish I was in that game.
As part of
What?
as part of the gift suite or whatever it is, they give out a PS4, a watch,
That's just overkill.
headphones, and some sort of nice slides or something like shoes. So UCF and the Knights are getting that as well as the LSU Tigers. But the consequence of getting a PS4 is you have to play away from home and play in Glendale, Arizona, where the Cardinals play. You're on the West Coast, Hunter. I know it's going to be a nice, warm environment.
Oh, yeah.
Who you taking in this one? I hope you're going to say LSU because I can't stand UCF saying that they're going to just win and become national champions again.
Well, gentlemen.
Oh, God.
Darn right. This is you guys know why I'm really going to watch this game. I'm going to enjoy this game out of every other game because
Why?
LSU is putting a royal smackdown on UCF. You're going to laugh at this score, but this is how I see it. LSU 50-14. It's not going to be close.
Wow.
It is
Oh
not
my
gonna be,
God.
Nice.
I got Burrow and Brosette going to rush them, pass them, do whatever they want to them. It's going to be ugly. That's all I'm going to say.
As George likes to say, it'll be over by half.
What are you saying? Like it's going to be 30-7 at halftime, Hunter?
Looks like it.
You know what? That's how I see it.
I agree with you, but I'll say this. I was considering a really, really big, huge score, but because Greedy Williams isn't playing and there's another DB for LSU that's not playing, they're playing with a lot of guys that are just going to be sitting out and aren't going to want to do anything. And yes, you have Burrow and Brosette who basically ran all over us, even though we're one of the best rushing defenses in the country, us meaning A&M. I think it'll be closer than it'll be close. But UCF is not going to win. It's going to be 45. It's going to be 45-42, and
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not as huge as Hunter said, but yeah, I think 45-42. LSU will win, and it'll be the only time I've actually rooted for LSU to get a win because I need these UCF fans to just shut their mouth. Shut your mouth.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like. This is just me. I don't really agree with all these top prospects ditching the bowl games to go.
I don't like that.
I just don't like it. I think it's. I think when your team depends on you, especially if you're a top prospect. You need them at the game.
It's
And
petty.
if you're just like pitching a player, I understand they do it for injury reasons, but
It's petty.
still,
It's petty.
It is petty. It is. It's really petty.
Yeah. Desmond, what do you have in this game? LSU, UCF.
LSU 27-10. I'm just, whew, that is a huge deficit, man.
I mean, and we'll know who to call when it's
Exactly,
when
yeah.
it's 45-10. We'll
Look,
say that.
just call me right away.
But okay, so that's all the top five. The five of the biggest games that I feel like are going to be somewhat close, except for that last one, according to Hunter. So we're just going to go down the line, and we're just going to pick these games. I'm going to start with some of the lesser known ones because, I mean, we'll end with the college football playoff because we all know we want to hear what Desmond has to say about Oklahoma. But we'll start first. New Orleans Bowl in the Superdome. That's tomorrow at night. Appalachian State and Middle Tennessee. These two teams, Appalachian State won the Sun Belt. Middle Tennessee lost to UAB in the Conference USA. Appalachian State's playing with a new head coach, or interim head coach actually. Middle Tennessee's got the Stockstills, who's the son. Here's the dad is the head coach, and the son is the quarterback. Desmond, who do you have in this one?
I guess Appalachian State, George.
Score?
Be honest, I mean, score 21-14.
Okay. Hunter, App State or Middle Tennessee?
I'm agreeing with Desmond on this one. I have App State 28-14. I see their App State's running back Darrington Evans, fairly decent running back, and I think he's going to carry the team to a win.
Man, you've done your research, Hunter. I'm impressed.
I came prepared. I'm not gonna lie. I came more prepared than I did last time.
Yeah, I've got App State as well, so that's App State across the board. I've got them 38-23. So you know what that means. Using the college game day logic, if you've got it halfway across the board, it means the other team's going to win. So moving ahead to also actually the two other games that are tomorrow that are involve actually Desmond and I's small school. We'll go with the New Mexico Bowl. North Texas takes on Utah State. Be a good one off from the campus of the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. I got North Texas just because it was my small school, but I really think they've got the win. This will be high scoring. North Texas 44, Utah State Aggies 41. Hunter, let's go to you.
George, you're not going to like my prediction. I'm actually going to go with the Utah State Aggies on this one. I know how much you care about your North Texas. Mean Green. I do love the QBs in both Jordan Love and Mason Fine. I feel like they've had exceptional seasons, not throwing a lot of interceptions. But what I've seen, I see Utah State stomping their opponents. But I don't think they're gonna have a tougher competition with North Texas, I believe. But in order for them to win, they need to stop Rico Busey Jr. I think he's just been too well for North Texas, and that's how they need to win this game. So like I said, 30-24.
So what was that, 30-24?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it will be close. I think it will be an exciting matchup here as we wait for Desmond to make his prediction here. Desmond, UNT or Utah State?
Well, George, you know what? No. UNT is going to win this game.
Okay.
Didn't Utah State, they just lost their coach, right? We took their coach. I mean, we didn't take him, but well, I feel like
you didn't, Desmond. You didn't take him. You hired him.
Exactly. Yeah,
You borrowed.
No, but I think that it's always difficult when you lose a coach. I think the chemistry might be a little weird. It'll be the first game with the, I agree with you, George. North Texas winning this game, 35-21.
Okay. We'll get through this next one because it's Desmond's small school, and then we're gonna have to go a little bit more rapid fire here just to make it a little bit ease of listening. We got the Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl. This is either the last or the second to last game at Sam Boyd Stadium where UNLV plays before they move this Las Vegas Bowl to the new Las Vegas Raiders Stadium on the Strip, so that'll be exciting. But for now, it's Fresno State, the Mountain West Conference champions, taking on Desmond's small school, the Arizona State Sun Devils. This one is in the morning I think it's like at 2 p.m. or something like that. I've got Arizona State winning. Desmond, you'll like that. 33-28.
Yes,
I think Fresno State is good, but Arizona State has played better opponents and has played better in their Pac-12 that's weak. But Hunter, what do you have?
I agree with you, George. I got Arizona State 21-20. I believe ASU needs. I'm just going to say, watch out for Eno Benjamin. I think he's going to have a big game. I'm predicting he's going to score 2 touchdowns for ASU.
Wow.
And so I'm going to have it 21-20 on this one.
Okay, Desmond. Obviously, I think you're going to take your small school.
Yeah, obviously I'm choosing my small school, George. You know, but they do lose. They're going to lose by 7 points. Just know that, okay?
Oh yeah. What was that? Like, what? 4 of their 5 losses has been by 7 points, or all their losses?
Yeah, right. Like 4 of their 5. Other ones are like by 4. But I definitely have him win this game, 35-28.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Either they're going to win by that much, or they're going to lose by 7.
Lose by 7, yeah.
So we're going to just keep going here pretty quickly. Just give me maybe a 10-second short reason. But we moved to the Florida Bowl, or to a Florida Bowl game, the Cheribundi Cherry Tart Boca Raton Bowl game. UAB takes on Northern Illinois. This is MAC champion versus the Conference USA champion. I've got UAB 34-27. Hunter, who you got?
I'm going to agree with you again. I got UAB. I have it a little lower scoring game. I believe it's going to be 21-17.
Okay.
NIU doesn't win in big margins. That's why I had this closer than usual. Or they keep their games closer than usual. Their UAB, the UAB QB.
It's just UAB is just a good Cinderella story. I feel like story.
Their QB is okay. He's a little inaccurate, but I thought from watching that A&M UAB game, they had a very exceptional wide receiver.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. They had weapons. They just can't compete with those big schools.
Exactly, and so that's why I have UAB winning this one.
Desmond, who you got?
I'm sorry, but I have UAB winning, which means that they're going to lose.
What's your final score?
I think it'll be close, 17-14.
Okay. Wow, very low scoring.
Yes, very low scoring.
Okay. Next, we've got the Bahamas Bowl. Everyone wants to go to the Bahamas for... Unfortunately, this is before Christmas, so you necessarily won't stay there in Christmas. It's Florida International, or FIU, against Toledo. I got FIU 46-40 in overtime. Hunter, who you got, and a score, quickly.
I agree with you. You said FIU?
Correct.
I have FIU 42-38. Not really great defenses from both games. It's going to be a heavily offensive game. I feel like Toledo has had better competition, but I think FIU will pull it off.
Desmond, what do you have?
FIU 28-17.
Okay. I like that. I like that. If I am confident of writing that, I can like that. Okay. Next, we've got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl on the blue turf in Boise. BYU takes on Western Michigan. Hunter, let's go to you first. Who you have?
I got BYU in this one. Like I said, or like I always say, BYU just has better competition than schools like Western Michigan.
Nice.
They've had to rely on their younger guys, their freshman QB, but I feel like they still get the win in this one.
Score?
35-20.
Desmond, who do you have? BYU or Western Michigan?
BYU, man. I don't think it'll be that close. I think it'll be like 35-10.
Oof. Yeah, I've got BYU. And unfortunately, Desmond, on the other I actually have BYU 41-35, winning on a game-winning touchdown in overtime.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
I think yes, you say a good thing. Hunter, I'll make a quick exception here to break down something. Hunter, you make a good point saying BYU doesn't have that big of opponents, but Western Michigan did give Syracuse a run for their money in week 1.
that is true.
And they have had some decent opponents where they have put some effort in there. So I think that will be closer than the experts think. I think right now the spread is 5 or 6. So actually that would be right on the spread. Let's go to Birmingham, the Jared Birmingham Bowl. I don't know why you'd ever have a jeweler sponsor a bowl game, but the Memphis Tigers and Wake Forest are going to be looking for a ring. Who has it, Memphis or Wake Forest? Let's go to Hunter.
I got Memphis in this one. Their QB, I believe it's Brady White. I think he grew up in my town.
Nice.
That's one reason. That's one reason I have this game. And he's doing all right.
And Daryl Henderson is good too.
Yeah. Wake Forest has had the tougher opponents, but I think Memphis is the better overall team, and they've competed with UCF in that first game pretty well. Not so much the second game.
Score?
And I think their running back Daryl Henderson is the difference maker. He's had 3 200-plus yard games. I think he's going to have a big day. So 45-31 Memphis on this one.
Wow. Okay, Desmond, who do you have? Wake Forest or Memphis?
As you mentioned, Derek Henderson, who actually just claimed that he's leaving early for the NFL draft this year.
Oh,
dang it!
Yeah.
Kidding me right now? Gosh.
But
you want to change your pick, Hunter?
no, not like he's leaving after the season for the NFL draft.
So he will play.
Yeah, he's gonna play for the NFL.
Okay, he's gonna play. You're fine, Hunter.
All right, I'm good.
I have him winning 28-7, Memphis.
Wow. I have. I'm actually not going with y'all. I'm going with Wake Forest. I think they're a good team. Memphis is good, but I can't trust them after seeing what UCF. Actually, here's the logic. Every time I picked Memphis to beat UCF, they lost. So I'm picking Wake Forest, assuming that Memphis will win. So maybe that will be the logic there. I got Wake Forest 38-34, but we'll see. So these next few ones, we'll just go quickly. The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl game in the Cotton Bowl. Boise State, Boston College. Hunter, who you got, and a score. Let's go quickly here.
I believe I have Boise State. If I could find what score I have for them. 30-20 Boise State. I think they have a better offense and defense than Boston College in the passing game.
That's what you need to win a football game, so yes.
That is.
Desmond, who you have?
38-21 Boise State.
I got Boise State as well. 31-10. I don't think it'll be close. The Armed Forces Bowl we're in the TCU's home stadium in the Carter. Houston takes on Army. Army's coming off that big win against Navy. They're at 10 wins. Houston's at 8, I think 8-4. I've got Army winning 30-23. I would feel like that would be an upset or somewhat of an upset. Yeah. Hunter, who do you have?
I got Houston on this one, 34-20. I didn't really like Army's performance against the Navy, which is not really a great team.
That's fair.
I think their QB DR King will get it done.
He's hurt, by the way. He's out for the year.
Oh my gosh!
Eric King injured his knee 2 weeks ago, so they're running with their backup. But I still think you could get 34 points out of them. Desmond, who do you have? Houston or Army?
Houston, 42-10. I think it'd be a blowout.
Wow. I think the only reason why I'm taking Army will literally chew the clock. And I think it's going to be meteor scoring because Houston will score very quickly, meaning Army's going to have to up tempo. But look at what Army did to Oklahoma. Just leave that there.
All right.
Just leave that
Good point.
Moving on. Hawaii Bowl. Louisiana Tech, Hawaii Rainbows Warriors. The coolest mascot in the college football world. I've got Hawaii 42-38. They don't lose on their home turf. Desmond, who do you have?
I'm actually going to disagree. I think Louisiana Tech wins this game. Close game, 17-14.
Okay. Yeah, I think it could be close. Hunter, who do you have?
I agree with you all that it's going to be a close game. I have it 35-32 Hawaii. Like you said, George, I don't think Hawaii's going to lose on their home turf.
Yeah.
And watch out for QB Cole McDonald.
I wish this game was on Christmas Eve like it always is. It's always been on Christmas Eve, but not this year.
Yeah.
Because there's a Monday Night Football game on Christmas Eve, so well. Moving to the inside confines of Ford Field in Detroit, the Minnesota Golden Gophers take on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This is the last game for Paul Johnson, the legendary Georgia Tech coach. He's retiring after this game, and I think the old saying, win one for the Gippa, comes true for the Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech carries Coach Johnson off on their shoulders and win 26-19. Hunter, who do you have?
I'm going to say Georgia Tech as well, 28-24. I think their QB, Taquan Marshall, gets it done with that run game. Not a great passer, but he's had 4 games with 100-plus rushing yards, so I got Georgia Tech.
It will be the last time we see the triple option with Georgia Tech. You heard it here first. Desmond, let's go to you.
I'm definitely going to agree with this. Georgia Tech wins this game 24-10. Hey, triple option can be really, really good if it's well used.
Hey, look at my high school. Won the state championship. Let's go! For you St. John 23rd Lines fans listening, they won the state championship with a triple option offense. Thank you very much. So kudos to Coach Richardson and his coaching staff. So let's keep moving on here. Walk-ons, Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Duke and Temple. And they have said that even though Temple just hired a new head coach, the interim will coach the Temple game. So the interim coach will play that one or coach that one. Duke and Temple, I've got Duke 20-13. This is going to be a low-scoring game if there ever is one. Hunter, let's go to you.
I got Duke as well. I got Duke 27-24. I think Temple needs to depend on their running back Reichwell Armstead to have a big game, but I think he's too inconsistent.
Yep.
But it's going to be back and forth game in my opinion.
I just think it'll be low scoring. Either it'll be lots of punts or it'll be scoring. So either way, Desmond, let's go to you. How about Duke or Temple?
I'm just going to go Duke on this one, George. I'm going to go really low. I say 10-0.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think.
Well, I just don't think the offense is good enough to score a lot of points that we've seen from other teams.
Again, this is a game on December the 27th. That's at noon or something. It's a game that of course,
no one's gonna watch.
You're gonna watch if you're a huge fan, but not
exactly.
Okay, so we go to the only bowl game left in a football or baseball stadium, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Between Miami and Wisconsin. We saw this matchup last year in the Orange Bowl, and look where they've just digressed into. They went from the Orange Bowl, which was a great New Year's Six, to the Pinstripe Bowl. That's just sad. Somebody's got to win. I'll take Wisconsin. I'll take Wisconsin because why not? 31-21. Hunter, who wins this measly, boring matchup?
I agree with you that it's going to be measly boring. I'm going to disagree with you on the prediction. I got Miami 17-10. N'Kosi Perry stepped in for who was it? Malik Rozier, whatever his name was. And he's done fairly decent. And I got the U pulling it out.
Nice. Go you.
Go you.
Yeah. Desmond, who do you have? Miami or Wisconsin?
I agree with you, George. I have Wisconsin win this game 38-34.
Okay. Yeah, I think if there's a game I'm not going to watch between two Power 5 opponents, it's that one. I have better things to do on December the 27th. Seriously. The next day, 28th, the Camping World Bowl between Syracuse and West Virginia. West Virginia is not going to be playing Will Grier. He said he's going to sit out this one in hopes of preparing for the NFL draft. I had West Virginia. I changed that very quickly. Syracuse wins 44-42 on a last-minute 2-point conversion. Hunter, let's go to you again. Who do you have?
I'm going to say West Virginia on this one, although I really like your pick. I chose Syracuse at first, but then I changed it. And there's one reason and one reason only. Will Grier, one of the top QB draft picks, has a very impressive season. Love to see him go to my Denver Broncos.
I just told you he's not playing in this game.
Are you serious?
I told you. I just said that's
really?
the reason why I chose Syracuse. I had West Virginia, and then Will Grier is not choosing not to play. So
I hate players. You know what? I really don't like players.
So you still sticking with your gut with West Virginia? Think they can pull it out?
No, Syracuse.
Okay.
So no faith.
So Syracuse wins by how much? What's the score?
You know, it's going to be a blowout. That's all I can see. No Will Grier, no good.
So they're 28-10.
You know what? Why not? Yes.
Okay, there you go. Let's go to you, Desmond. You gonna back your Big 12, or are you just gonna go with the ACC?
I'm gonna back my Big 12, George.
Oh my gosh, Desmond.
24-13, West Virginia, George.
All I'm saying is y'all are doubting Syracuse. This team.
No, y'all are downing
it's
the
a good team.
backup of West
No,
Virginia.
go. This Syracuse team, is going to be competing in the ACC next year. And mark my words, when they play Clemson in the Carrier Dome next year, that game will decide who goes to the ACC championship from the Atlantic Division. Seriously, that's how good Syracuse is getting. Dino Babers is doing something fantastic with the program. They're going to lose Eric Dungy, their quarterback. But if they can develop, what's his name? I can't remember. The guy had stuff in Notre Dame. They can develop him. They're fine. Let's move ahead. Not enough time to bicker and argue, so let's just move ahead. Baylor Bears and Vanderbilt Commodores in the Texas Bowl. Academy sponsors that one, so you're going to see lots of low prices every day because it's Academy. That's their slogan. Get it? Low prices every day, Academy? No, okay. Like I mentioned earlier, Hunter, you didn't hear this, but as I mentioned earlier, this could literally be anybody's game. Whoever wins this will have huge momentum going into the 2019 season. I've got Baylor 37-34, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vanderbilt wins. Let's go to you, Hunter.
I believe I have Baylor winning this game. If I could find what score I had. Oh yeah, close game. I agree. 31-30. Both have had rough schedules, but still ended up with 500, which is not terrible. I think Vandy's better rounded, but I like Baylor as the Cinderella.
Desmond, you taking the Big 12 like we are?
Of course, George. Baylor's going to win this game. The score will be 42-35.
Like a shootout.
Like
always
shootout.
In the Texas Bowl. Let's go to the Music City Bowl. Purdue and Auburn. Purdue has been one of those teams that you can either get the Purdue that beat Ohio State or the Purdue that just loses horrible games like to Central Michigan. I think Auburn gets the Purdue that loses to Central Michigan. Auburn wins 23-20. Maybe on the last second field goal. Desmond, who you taking?
I will be taking
Auburn or Purdue?
Auburn.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I was just thinking, but because Auburn's been very inconsistent this season, but I still think they're a better team than Purdue. I'll have them winning 21-7.
Okay. Hunter, Purdue or Auburn?
I got Auburn on this one. They've had a disappointing season, but I don't think Purdue's that team that's going to come off and upset Auburn. So I got Auburn 28-24.
Okay. We're going to wrap this up very quickly. So unfortunately, Hunter, we're gonna wrap this up as quickly as we can.
No worries.
We're gonna get the A&M game in, and then we'll do the semifinal games as soon as we get that. So A&M Gator Bowl, they play North Carolina State. North Carolina State's sitting a bunch of people out. Let's do this real quick. I've got A&M 41-27. Hunter, let's go to you quickly.
A&M 24-20.
Desmond?
A&M 35-21.
Okay. I would love to pick all the other ones, but we don't have time for that. If we can do this quickly, we can do this quickly. Alabama. We'll do the semifinals and then do as many as we can. Alabama, Oklahoma. I've got Bama. I almost had Oklahoma in an upset. Instead, I have Bama 48-35. Desmond, let's go to you.
Big game. Bama 56-35.
Wow. Okay. Hunter, go for it.
Bama 45-42. It's going to be an offensive game.
Okay. And then the other semifinal, Cotton Bowl, Clemson, Notre Dame. Who you got? I got Clemson 34-17. Hunter, let's go to you.
Notre Dame 28-27.
Wow. Close. Desmond, who you have?
Notre Dame 21-0.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay. So you see Bama. You got Bama. Desmond, you got Bama, Notre Dame. I've got Bama, Clemson. You got Bama, Notre Dame as well.
Yep.
Hunter. Okay. And then the rest of the New Year's Six will go very quickly. Michigan, Florida. I've got Florida 24-17. Desmond, who do you have?
I have Michigan 35-21.
Okay. And then Hunter, who do you have?
Michigan 34-17.
Rose Bowl. Ohio State, Washington. I've got Ohio State last second field goal 38-35. Hunter, who do you have?
Ohio State 35-17.
Desmond?
Oh, excuse me, repeat that.
Ohio State, Washington, Rose Bowl.
Ohio State, they're going to win 28-14.
And then Sugar, which is, of course, the one that we all are going to hopefully pick the right team. Georgia, Texas. I got Georgia by a touchdown, 49-42. Hunter, let's go to you.
Georgia 42-35.
And Desmond?
I think it'll be a low score in that. Georgia 21-7. No, 21-10. 21-10.
Okay. So we'll pick the citrus here, which is also the last one, and then I think we'll wrap it up there. Citrus, Penn State, and Kentucky, number 12 and 14. I got Kentucky, I guess somewhat in an upset, but not my upset. Kentucky, 35-17.
Ooh.
What about you, Hunter?
I'm going to say Penn State 34-20.
Okay, and Desmond?
I'm going to say Penn State 14-10.
Okay. And I think that's as much as we can get to. We'll post these picks if you really want them. But the Bowl Mania that we have set up for the fifth quarter, you could join that. Just look up the fifth quarter or go to our social media. We have those links for you. Again, we'll be back we'll be back on the air. This is our final of 2018. We'll be back on the air for Championship Monday against to break down the national championship game, which hopefully will be Bama Notre Dame or Bama Clemson or Oklahoma Notre Dame and Oklahoma Clemson. We'll see. So signing off in 2018. We'll catch you on the flip side of 2018.
New Year.
and Hunter, thank you for joining us. Glad you could join us. And signing off.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Signing off for the final time in 2018. I'm George Koff, and my counterpart just in the other side of Houston, Desmond McLaughlin. Wishing you happy holidays and a prosperous new year. We'll catch you in 2019. Adios, everybody.
Adios.